get very few cuts of the whip, considering what bad cattle we are. And when we do smart a little, it is soon over. Impatient people water their miseries and hoe up their comforts. Sorrows are visitors that come without invitation, but complaining minds send a wagon to bring their troubles home in. Many people are born crying, live complaining, and die disappointed. They chew the bitter pill, which they would not even know to be bitter, if they had the sense to swallow it whole in a cup of patience and water. They think every other man's burden to be light, and their own feathers to be heavy as lead. They are hardly done by in their own opinion. No one's toes are so often trodden on by the black ox as theirs. The snow falls thickest round their door. The hail rattles hardest on their windows. And yet, if the truth were known, it is their fancy rather than their fate which makes things go so hard with them. Many would be well off if they could but think so. A little sprig of the herb called content put into the poorest soup will make it taste as rich as the Lord Mayor's turtle. Grace is a good soil to grow it in, but it wants watering from the fountain of mercy. To be poor is not always pleasant, but worse things than that happen at sea. Small shoes are apt to pinch, but not if you have a small foot. If we have little means, it will be well to have little desires. Poverty is no shame, but being discontented with it is. In some things, the poor are better off than the rich. For if a poor man has to seek meat for his stomach, he is more likely to get what he is after than the rich man who seeks a stomach for his meal. The best doctors are Dr. Diet, Dr. Quiet, and Dr. Merriman. And many a godly ploughman has all these gentlemen to wait upon him. Plenty makes dainty, but hunger finds no fault in a cook. Hard work brings health, and an ounce of health is worth a sack of diamonds. It is not how much we have, but how much we enjoy that makes happiness. There is more sweet in a spoonful of sugar than in a cask of vinegar. It is not the quantity of our goods, but the blessing of God on what we have that makes us truly rich. Better is little with the fear of the Lord than great treasure and trouble therewith. A little wood will heat my little office. Why then should I murmur because all the woods are not mine? When troubles come, it is of no use to fly in the face of God by hard thoughts of providence. That is, kicking against the pricks and hurting your feet. The trees bow in the wind, and so must we. Every time the sheep bleats, it loses a mouthful. And every time we complain, we miss a blessing. Grumbling is a bad trade and yields no profit, but patience has a golden hand. Our evils will soon be over. After rain comes clear shining. Black crows have wings. Every winter turns to spring. Every night breaks into morning. Blow the wind never miserable and gives others the disease by wickedly finding fault with God. The best remedy for affliction is submitting to providence. What can't be cured must be endured. If we cannot get bacon, let us bless God that there are still cabbages in the garden. Must is a hard nut to crack, but it has a sweet kernel. All things work together for good to them that love God. Whatever falls from the skies is sooner or later good for the lad. Whatever comes to us from God is worth having, even though it be a rod. We cannot, by nature, like trouble any more than a mouse can fall in love with a cat. And yet, Paul, by grace, came to glory in tribulations also. Losses and crosses are heavy to bear, but when our hearts are right with God, it is wonderful how easy the yoke becomes. We must needs go to glory by the way of weeping cross. And as we were never promised to ride to heaven in a feather bed, we must not be disappointed when we see the road to be rough.